How are we supposed to say, okay, he has all these options, so I'm gonna make myself the better choice? What more can I do except for be the best version of myself that I can be?
Translation, you don't meet the you're not good enough in the categories of what is important to him. So yes, it sucks, ladies. I know. He will continue to string you along with sex, but he's not going to marry you. Again, this is why the vetting process becomes so important because, your father can Welcome back, guys. Mike here, and we are back with Daily Wrap Up Crew. 1,000 subscribers. Let's go ahead and jump into the video. Why modern women can't find Mr. Right.
Why do you think women are having a hard time finding a man? What's your thoughts on that?
Anybody want to go first?
I can go. Now, especially in New York, women are making more than men. So,
Is that
women are making,
statistically true?
yes, actually. I could pull it up, but I can't remember.
Wait, what? We're going to pull it up because I didn't know that. Let's see here. Average income in NYC for women. Uh, huh. So, average income in NYC for women, 30,000. Men, it's 40,000. Is it black women? 2016, 42. White men's medium incomes, 66 to 74. Okay, so 42 4. And then let's see what it is for men. Okay, annual salary average. This can't be right. African American salary in New York City, 79. Something's going on here because what in the world is going on here? Because I don't know. This is looking suspect. I mean, the only reason I'm looking it up is because that's not the first time I've heard that. If the status is that there are 22 cities women are out earning men, my argument to that would be, it's 22 cities out of how many? All across the United States, it's only 22 cities. So what are we talking about here? But I'm gonna have to do some more research on that because according to what we just looked up, that's not true. I think those stats for black men might be a little bit off, because that's extreme. Is that's an extreme gap between 42 and over 70. I don't think that black men are making that much in New York City. That yeah, for it to be that much of a wage difference. That seems kind of funny to me, but we gonna. Okay, hold on a second. Yeah, it's just, see, it changed just when I typed in uh, New York City. I typed it out. See, now it's 45. So let's go ahead and type for men. It's the same thing. We're going back to ZipRecruiter again, but income per person. Median household income of 75. Income is 43. Okay, average American make in NYC 107 per capita income. So yeah, 41. So maybe that's what they're talking about. The average income for a man is 41, and then for a woman it's 45. 5. I think that maybe that's what they're talking about. I don't know. That's going to require more research, but we need to get back to the video. So I still don't believe that's not a big enough reason why women can't find Mr. Right, because again, it only accounts for 22 cities, but there are still men and women getting married in those cities. So is that really the answer? Doesn't sound like it.
Remember the
You
stats.
might need the stats on that one, but go ahead. Go ahead.
No problem. Women are making more than men now, and women are looking for hypergamy. So, and women are education wise, they're graduating colleges. The stats show that. I don't know the exact stats.
Okay, again, this lady doesn't know what she's talking about, because let's go over here. Let's go over here and look at this. Okay, the definition of hypergamy: actions of marrying or forming sexual relationship with a person of superior sociological or educational background. Well, okay, where's the money part? Sociological. We'll go ahead and look this word up too. Concerning development of structure, functioning in human society. Status. That's what that is. So the money is not in the definition, but they're still talking, but people are still running with this. So it's like, okay, well, this is what happens when you start paying it. You just start taking people's word over stuff, and they don't know what they're talking about. First, it was women are out earning men. Well, where is that happening at? That's not the majority, though. Then it's, women are hypergamous, so they're looking for men who make more money, when the definition of hypergamy doesn't include finances. It's about status. In today's world, do you need money to have status? No, because there's plenty of dudes, this guy, blue check marks, and they live in paycheck to paycheck. But yet and still, those guys will get priority in with women. Why? Because of status. So we got to be careful about when we say these things, because, well, look, let me keep going, because we already.
So, they're looking for men that makes more than them, more educated than them, taller than them. They're looking for like that top percentage of men, and it's a really small percentage. They don't want to compete for that man either. So, yeah.
I feel like women are not finding a man they want, and I feel like it's mostly because like nobody's willing to wait. So everything is here, everything is now. And we have in mind, I want the house or the picket fence, or I want this kind of man. And then, Peter from up the block comes along and he's nice, he got swag, he look good or whatever. So you know what I mean? You're gonna be distracted by whatever's going on. You don't want to be lonely, or having a relationship seems like the end thing. So I feel like everybody just goes along with whatever's going on, not kind of settling but compromising what it is that they really want in order for the right now.
I disagree, because her strategy is to wait it out, and that's a bad strategy, because that leads to later problems. That's how you end up with a marrying age of over 30, and it's like you guys are running out of time biologically. So now, the reason why she's saying it, I don't disagree with that, is that people often, like younger people, tend to rush into things too soon. But that's only because, again, this is another example of the vetting process being broken in our community. See, if getting married younger wouldn't be such a big deal if we could vet better. Because then you're more likely to have a relationship with somebody that you guys share the same goals. If that happens, then you already come up with a plan and you know what to do. So there's not time for guesswork. We know what we're supposed to be doing. We're getting off track. Okay, well, let's get back on the track. We go back to day one and remember what we agreed to. A lot of times that's going to that can save a relationship, is when you guys have common goals and then things aren't going right, and it's like, okay, hold on. Let's wait. Let's take a step back here. What we're arguing about, is it bigger than the goals that we have set? Okay, then let's give that a few days and we'll let that breathe. We need to get back on track with what we were focusing on, and then we'll revisit this conversation later, and we'll know of how important it is when we come back and revisit it again. A lot of times it's not that important. It was just both of you guys got caught up in the moment. But bringing back the goal and what you guys say that you want to achieve reminds you of how small things can be. But let's keep going though.
Okay.
I would say, I feel like based off where we are in society, a lot of women are more so masculine, and a lot of men are becoming more feminine because of that. And that's really the main reason.
Okay.
You know, I keep having to stop. I'm sorry, but what is the definition of men becoming more feminine? It's like we hear that all the time, but rarely is there examples given. So maybe this will be the one time when we actually get to see that happening.
I also want to add to that. That's true. It's I won't call it settling either. I will call it like compromising and
Okay, so they're not going to talk
women
about
just
it.
want
It just ran right by
the
it.
men to come with it. They don't want to build with men nowadays because of opportunities that women have now. They have even like with corporate positions, like they will hire a black educated woman over a black educated man. So I just feel like women just want more now because they're being offered more.
But you also said they're not willing to compete. So even if they say they want that upper echelon dude, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're not willing to compete for him. What do you just stand around waiting?
What's the competition though? Like,
I mean, obviously we're going to have to compete if you want a better person, right? He's going to have other options, just like good women are going to have multiple options as well, right? So at some point, somebody's going to compete. So if you like, oh, hey, I look good, and there's like 50 other women that look good that's still talking to him, and you just want him to pick you, you got to compete somehow, right? For him to acknowledge you over the other 50 women that's there.
I don't know that I
I
believe
was
that. Go ahead.
it is a competition, but when you say competition, women take it as, oh, I'm not competing. But when in reality, it is like if you want that top percent man, no, you are competing because they have this thing like, oh, I'm the prize and I also can bring this to the table. So then it's just like, that's really how they ended up single with that attitude that they have, in my opinion.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a competition. I think like if I know a guy has options, I'm not gonna say, oh, it's me versus her and her and her. It's just me, and I'm
Right.
showing up to
Right.
however whatever I bring, and that's how. But to him, it's a competition because he's the one that's choosing. But I'm not
Right.
looking at you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna worry about me
Right.
and how I'm coming.
Yeah, I mean, that's regardless how you look at it, you're still competing at some form. And to the point about what you said, women are hypergamous by nature. That's understandable. So again, when 80% of the women want to 20% of men, and then y'all keep disqualifying men. So now y'all want him to be a high earner. Not only do we got to be a high earner, he has to also be a certain height. Not only does he have to be a certain height, he has to be good in bed. Not only has to be, you get what I'm saying? So y'all keep shortening the list as much as low as possible. And then when it comes down to like, okay, well, realistically, you guys are looking at 2% of all men of all ethnic groups. Now it's like, how am I going to go get that man? If that's the man that you truly want, how are you going to set yourself aside from the other women that also want that? Because on this show, every episode, we got women talking about the same things in the men. You got to.
You know, I'm starting to wonder if when women say that they're not competing for that guy, if they're just talking about getting on a date with him. Because the guy's initiating contact and he's initiating going on a date, if that's what they're talking about. Because if it is, then I understand the misconception. Because when we talk about competition, it's competing for his last name. Like anybody can get on a date and anybody can have sex. Where is the wedding though? Where are the marriages at? And see, I think that's where the competition happens, because if he's dating 2 and 3 women, okay, well, how are you getting him to let go of those other women? Let's keep going.
He got to be a high earner. He got to be 6 feet. Every woman universally wants these same type of men. So therefore, you have to differentiate yourself from that competition. Whether you want to look at it as her, and her. At some point, you have to realize, hey, this is the quality of man I want for my life, and I have to prove or separate myself from the other women or show what I could offer best, so that way he could choose me.
But am I allowed to ask you questions? Because I want to know, like, how do you Like you're not a woman, obviously, but how are we supposed to say, okay, he has all these options, so I'm gonna make myself the better choice? I'm just a piggyback, off of what she said. It's like, what more can I do except for be the best version of myself that I can be? I feel like it's his choice at the end of the day. He has a bunch of options. That's like deciding what you want to wear today. So you're going to decide based on what event you're going to or what the weather is or, whatever like that. And so, that's how you make your decision. I'm assuming that's how a man makes his decision, whatever his priorities are, whatever his likes and dislikes are, and whatever woman brings that to the table, um, for the most part, I feel like that's who he's gonna choose. I don't know how I would, get up in the morning and say, I'm I'm gonna be um the best person so that he could choose me.
But you have to ask,
Just
not to cut you off, King, but
Mhm.
the thing is, women have to understand what men want,
She has
especially
a valid
these
point.
high earning men, these high value men, quote unquote.
Mhm.
You got to understand what is it that he wants in a significant other. You get what I'm saying? Once you figure that out, then you can start to, all right, well, these are, I could help in these areas, or I have this to offer. You get what I'm saying? Like, I find it interesting that women will compete. I say this all the time. Women will compete in every asset of her life, whether it's her career, whether it's
School.
her education. She knows exactly how to compete for those. But when it comes to a man, now all of a sudden we confused, or why should I have to compete for that? Like, y'all compete for your job. That new
Okay, so we're gonna get a little bit off track here because he's not being very specific to her question. What she's really asking is that what she's really saying is that I can only be the best version of myself, and if he doesn't like that, then he's gonna pick somebody else. That's 100% right. The thing that's missing from this conversation is the quality of men that she's dating. She's not dating high value men because you don't ask that question when you are. What she's probably used to is average men. Now, because that question, I can definitely help her out with that one because we talk about this all the time, right? The fit, feminine, friendly, cooperative, submissive, childless. It's the 6 categories. Everybody's heard this stuff before, right? The average man will take 3 to 4 out of the 6. So what women have to do then is that the type of guy that you're looking for, once you meet his type, not him, his type, then whatever the 3 to 4 categories that you're good at, you got to figure out, is that what he's looking for? And then a lot of times this is why a lot of women will get disqualified from the high value concept because, or men in general, is because you'll end up wasting time on a guy because he presents himself as looking exactly what you want, right? But you don't have the right categories. You're not good enough in the right categories in order to keep that man around. So yes, he will date you for a couple months, maybe even a year or two, but he's already made up in his mind that I'm not trying to marry this girl. Nah, she don't, she doesn't meet the criteria. I think I'm not really feeling her like that. Translation: you don't meet you're not good enough in the categories of what is important to him. So yes, it sucks, ladies. I know he will continue to string you along with sex, but he's not going to marry you. Again, this is why the vetting process becomes so important because your father can read that man after spending a certain amount of time with him and say, okay, yeah, I can tell by the conversations that I've been having with him, baby girl, he's not the guy for you. But a lot of times what happens is that we've raised our daughters not to trust the older men in the family. So they just say, well, you don't know what you're talking about. He loves me. We're going to be together. And then guys just like, you know what? I'm getting tired of you saying that. This is old. You just going to do whatever you want to do. Go ahead. And then lo and behold, what happens a few months later? Somebody's pregnant. And the guy didn't want to have a kid because he wasn't looking to get married. So now you got a toxic situation because the guy don't want the kid, but you still do because it is a life brewing inside of you, and you feel that motherly instincts kick in and that connection between you and the child. So you don't want to give the baby up, and all y'all doing is butting heads. That story has happened so many times. But where did it all start from? From the very beginning. It's like I always say, we're raising our kids to be soldiers in the gender war. It started with the way that the daughter was raised, is that she didn't trust her father, which is a learned behavior. See, number one, we got to stop wasting time on people who our long-term plans don't align with. If a man is not looking to get married, how much time do you want to waste on him? If you are, if you're looking for marriage, how much time are you gonna waste? That's why the vetting process, we have to fix it. Or we have to improve it a lot. I'm not gonna say we're gonna fix it because that would take too long. That's probably a lifetime worth of anyway, let's get back to the video.
That new position that you got at work that you had to interview for, you made sure you was the best candidate for that position, right?
Yeah.
Put extra shit on your resume.
I get what you were saying too as well. I just feel like as long as you're staying true to yourself while you're doing it, that's all that matters. And also, sometimes we may think that we're giving our best, but in his eyes, we're not. So like you were saying, just like you can kind of ask him like, well, what is it that you want? Like, I guess women don't tend to ask a man what it is that he wants. So you be open to asking, like, what it is that you want. If you can give it, then you try your best giving it, but just stay true to yourself while doing it. Don't step out of character.
Yeah, I agree to the same thing. This lady in yellow, I think she had a valid point about saying that you got to be the best version of yourself. If that's not good enough, you need to move on. Because I don't agree with this young lady talking about ask the guy what he's looking for. Because most of the time when that happens, the woman will try and be that. But if it's not a natural state, then it's a false narrative, and that's how you end up in a relationship. And then the woman ends up feeling neglected because she is putting forth an extraordinary effort to be this woman who she's not naturally. And when that's not rewarded the way she feels like it should be, all of a sudden now you got a woman scorned. And we know what that leads to. This is why the vetting process is so important. Stop wasting time with, okay, let's keep going.
Character doing it.
Yeah, I was going to say that to me, that goes on like an individual basis, unless we want to say that all men are the same. So, it would have to be this individual man and, like she said, what does he like? What is he into? Because, every man that's 6 feet in a, 6-figure tax bracket, I don't think they all have the exact same wants and needs.
Yeah, but that's your job to figure that out.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
What's your thoughts on this?
All right. Now, when you think about what women ask for, right? Like you were saying just now, if you want somebody who's 6 feet or better, what are you talking about 15% of men?
Right.
And then let's say you put that stat together with somebody who makes 6 figures, right? You already, look what you did with the percentage. You just cut that in half before you take into consideration his marital status, whether he has a personality, whether he's ugly, whether he's well endowed. Right, like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's so many factors so you're looking at what, like 1% of men. Now, social media has given access to these men. So females have access to them. They'll be in the DMs and they're going to not stop at a 10 just because they might be considered a 10 by women. They're going to go all the way down to a 3 or 4 or whatever. And once women get with that guy, they now feel like this is their type. And they don't understand why he's not taking her into consideration for a long-term relationship. He's just doing a flyby, and that's about it. And another reason that we have is females bring what they perceive as value to men, but it's not necessarily that. So they think that their education sometimes is valuable to a man. A man that's up there like that, he doesn't care because he doesn't need your money. He doesn't have access to your money. He generally doesn't have use for your money. So your education and the money that you bring is valuable for you personally. That's great, but it doesn't bring the same type of value to a relationship.
Yeah, that's true. I think sometimes women lead too much with that instead of showing other qualities that they could offer a man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they would rather show that they strong, independent, don't need no man, instead of, hey, well, this is the type of woman I am. This is what I could offer in a long-term successful relationship. These are the qualities I could offer. Sometimes it's just too much leading with, we make money. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I
and
agree.
then I also think like it's like okay, they have like ill intent behind it, but I don't want to say ill intent. Probably have some weird like intent behind it though, because they lead with saying, "Oh yeah, I have money, I can bring this to the table," but it's never I can contribute to the table. You get it?
Yeah.
So
And
That's
then
a good point.
that goes back to his point, while men
Yeah.
genuinely don't care about a woman's earning potential. Like, there's other factors that is more significant to us that we actually care about. Because like I said, that money is not our money. We don't got access to it. And if we do ask for access to it, then it comes, oh, he's some bum ass. You know what I mean? He broke. Like, why he asking for my money? Like, we always hear a woman.
yo, why?
A woman
Don't
will
do
always
that.
say like, a man's money is my money and my money is my money. Like, that sounds crazy. Like, to anybody
don't
else,
believe
that
in
would
that.
sound crazy. Like, you get what I'm saying? So I think, that's maybe why some women aren't finding the man that they want, is because, number one, you guys are looking at this few percentage of men that qualify for y'all, basically, and then y'all not willing to compete for that set of men, because there's women out here that competing for men. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if there's a LeBron James that's walking through, you best believe she put on her best effort. She coming with the right amount of fem. She knows how to, what qualities will, attract that man. Like, you know what I mean? So, and her right, she is competing for him. Like, you get him. She's the first one showing up at the club. She's making sure she's getting his attention. Her cleavage is out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Ass is poking out. She doing what she got to do to be seen. Like, you get what I'm saying? So that inherently is a form of competing. Like, you get what I'm saying? So, anything else you wanted to add, Keem?
No, I think they pretty much.
I do want to say one more thing. I think a lot of women chase the man that they're not even qualified for. So they see a man with great potential. They chasing him, and he not even looking at you because you not what he want, and you not trying to give him what he want. You just want to chase him because he's what everybody else wants. So he might not be on your level, and a lot of women waste their time on a dude that's not worth their time. So they spend 10 years trying to build somebody up that they should have just left the fuck alone in the first place. So, you know what I mean? It's a lot of wasted time, and you need to find out, I don't want to say levels, but if you know you can present this much to a man, and you trying to get, like how we always say, people like to go to the extreme and go for LeBron James, but you mediocre, I hate, or average. He's not looking for that per se, maybe, but the nice guy right next to you, you just walking right past him because you busy chasing LeBron James.
I just want to say, like the whole cliche idea about the 6 feet thing, that could be part of the reason why a lot of us are single or not finding the right man. I feel like,
Didn't they just say that?
kind of agreeing with you guys to a certain extent. How somebody treats you is good. If you're equally yoked, like you can't be in a relationship with someone just because they make a certain amount of money or just because they are.
Okay, we're gonna end it here because she just saying stuff because she on camera now. I mean, and she's repeating back what they just said. And maybe she had the epiphany moment. I seriously doubt it, though. I think she's just saying that because she's on camera. Because if that's the case, she would have brought that up in the beginning. But nobody said anything like that because it wasn't important to them. I think our opinion changed after they started breaking this down. They started putting numbers to well, wait a minute. It's not that many people that's over 6 feet tall. It's not that many people that make that kind of money. Ooh. Look, I'm all for character. That's why, I would say on this channel, men need to stop leading with their wallets or their salary, start leading with the dime. Especially if you're an average earner, right? Discipline, integrity, morals, and ethics. Those are the categories that you should be leading with. Why? Because a lot of times when you outrank a woman in those 4 categories, they're more likely to overlook salary, to give up their dream. Oh, this guy needs to make $100,000 a year. Even though personally, I believe women don't know numbers like that. They don't. Most women wouldn't know what to do with $100,000 if you gave it to them. A prime example is next time you see somebody talking about it on a show or in real life, ask them how much money that is a month. and watch them, watch their mind go to the loading screen because they sit there trying to figure it out. Why? Because they've never thought about it before. 100,000 is just a nice round number. Guys are a little bit like that too, because they sit there and talk about that stuff, and it's like, okay, but you wouldn't even know what to do with that money if you got it. Again, why is that important? Because, man, there are 4 key concepts that are holding back our community. The myths that come along with finances is one of them. It's the last one, but it is a big one though. But we've got to work on the other 3 if we're trying to move forward and rebuild a community and get the marriage rates up, meet normal nuclear families, all that good stuff, right? But we're gonna have to save that one for another video. This is an interesting conversation, high level for sure, because we broke down some great concepts. This lady in yellow, she brought up some good points about women being the best version of yourself, and that is a form of competing because you are trying to be the best version of yourself. But you have to come to the realization you have to be open to the possibility that version of yourself is not what the guy is looking for. In that case, you do need to move on because you're just wasting time chasing that guy. He's not looking for you. A lot of times, having the patriarch in your family vet the guy can reveal that, so you're not wasting time on the wrong guy. But great conversation as usual. Daily wrap-up crew. These guys rarely disappoint, right? I'm gonna say goes to the next time. Peace.